All right, guys. We're going to be talking about the Aussie dollar here, and there's really not much to talk about the on the monthly and the weekly, but we're going to just kind of break it down again. Monthly zones represents my purple zones, red zones are my weekly zones, and as you can see here, pretty much respected the monthly and the weekly. Not necessarily the weekly, but it's we were in pretty much monthly zones, and they were respected. So let's go ahead and bring it down to the weekly. Um, the weekly, there's something really talk about here. If you'll notice, the reason I marked this down as a weekly was support and then it became resistance, because way from back here, you'll notice how these areas were respected here, and that was respected there. So, I mean, I had them there, but it looks like this time it just easily ripped it apart. Um, with that said, whenever I see those things, I typically tend to find out that they'll come back, pick up the levels right around here, and they'll continue the trend um, back on towards the upside. Um, Bringing it down to the daily, there's really not much to talk about the daily other than we created daily demand up here. Our next daily supply is right around here. So we'll be looking for those as targets. It looks like we actually respected that resistance right around there. They're on lower time frames, and I just mark them down. So that's being respected right there right now. And you'll notice that for some reason, um, we can't seem to break that 69. I think I have it marked down at 69.75. Let me go ahead and put a red level there. And then, so you'll notice that 4-hour candles can't seem to break that 69.75 area. And yeah, we might actually on lower time frames we might spike it up a little bit, but for me that 69.75 is playing a significant level, and then nevertheless we have that still that white line there that for me represents resistance levels, but they're on lower time frames. And it just, once we start combining everything, you'll notice that they tend to have a big impact, an impact, not necessarily big impact, but they will have somewhat of an impact on these pairs. So I'm still overall long on this Aussie dollar. I even though I'm considering the long, the overall the overall trend is pretty much towards the long side, but I am expecting somewhat of a pullback. So if I do see the pullback, it'll be right around the 68, right around here. So let me go ahead and bring it. I think I have it 68.80, and then my stop loss is 68.45. So I'm pretty much covering the entire um, unfilled orders. So I don't know if you guys are aware of, yeah, you guys are. If you guys are not, the reason why I'm covering that area, the unfilled order right there, and then there's demand right there. There's 4-hour demand zone. Maybe we might actually consider dropping it down and covering pretty much. Actually, it's 68.40. Actually, let's bring it down to the 68.40. Just kind of give it that extra buffer. So that's the zone. Now, in this situation, we're looking at a 40 pips stop loss on this Aussie dollar. So the risk reward is it's still there, but considering that the Aussie dollar has low volatility compared to the other ones like the pound dollar and all the other pairs, not to the Swiss pairs, but it's really relatively low. The payout is not going to be it's going to be there, but not that much, because our target, it is going to be there. You're really going to get a 2-to-1 at least, because we're looking at the 70 as your first target, and then the 70.50 as your second target. So this is pretty much second target. But just, let's just kind of focus on the first target first of all. So even if you were to take this entire zone and maybe make it 0.5%, 1% out of your account, um, the risk reward still there. So that's pretty much a 1-to-1, a 2-to-1, and it's gonna be like a 2.5-to-1, or almost a 3-to-1 right there, right? So it's there. Now, if you're kind of iffy on the zone, then just wait. Wait until to see if we actually come as we're approaching down. As we're approaching down, the last thing you want to see is some kind of basing candle, some kind of 4-hour basing candle that's just gonna base, and it's just going to create that lot of basing for you to get your next leg down. Because if that happens, then our profit potential is pretty much wiped out, because more than likely we will come back up, and that new 4-hour supply will prevent us, or will give us actually a hard time to take it back up to the next level. So we kind of want to see nothing but red candles, red candles. Might be a slow. If it's a strong bearish candle, just coming all the way down, that's even better for me. Other than that, that's pretty much it for the play. The only way I'm actually going to be trading this Aussie dollar is two ways. I'm not going to be going long as day trades. Maybe day trades. Um, it's going to be really hard for me to actually even consider, going into day trades. I would have to be. I'd rather pick maybe another pair, because at the point where we're at right now, we're at that big 170 level, and then 70-45, 70-50. As a matter of fact, don't even take the 70-45, 70-50. Take the 70-45 as your second target. And profit potential is not that great, unless, once again, unless we see our strong week, Aussie being one of the strongest currencies for that given day, dollar being one of the weakest pairs, or just the fact that Aussie is one of the strongest pairs for the day, then yeah, maybe consider a day trade, and then considering maybe running it up to the 70-45. Sorry, 70-45 at that point. Um, Other than that, I don't really see anything else here. I mean, if it decides to drop even further down, so let's say, for example, this, in order for this to work, then the dollar has to go down. But if this decides to further keep on pushing down, just know that there's 4-hour demand right around this 67.30 area right there. Um, just know that. Um, and that's pretty much the gameplay. But this is the overnight for me, is pretty much this. This is the one that I have. Um, any questions? Just leave me comments, or just let me know. All right, guys. Talk to you guys. I'll see you guys on the next video. Take care.